catfishing adventures. It's morning time down here in Kentucky on the Ohio River, and I'm bank fishing today. Now, this is my first time fishing on the bank down here in this area. Um, I went live yesterday, and then I also did a short yesterday to to see what you guys thought would be best if I should go live or just do this fishing trip as a regular video and do it that way. So um, here we go. Good morning, Troy. So I decided what I'm going to do is because I had people, uh, both ways on this, saying that I should go live and or just do a video or do partial this and partial that. And I think I'm going to try and satisfy both crowds possibly and do maybe an hour long live or so. Right now it's right around 8 o'clock. I got started a couple minutes prior to that. And I'll tell you what I got out here in just a minute. But a few minutes before 8, I've got started, and we're gonna see how it goes. Like I said, we're gonna do live for about an hour, and uh, and then we'll probably turn it off and just continue fishing and record as I would a normal episode. All right. So anyway, that's what I've got going on this morning. So um, my camera's doing a little funny. It's not allowing me to see how many people are online right now or whatever. I don't know if I could play with it a little bit here and it shows me that or not. Anyway, can everybody see all right? For one thing, that's important. You got to be able to see. So let me know if you're on here and everything is visually okay. Uh, that would be very helpful. All right, what I've got is today I brought out 3 catfishing rods. Yes, Troy, you can see good? Okay, great. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right, so what I've got is 3 catfish rods. You may be counting 4 rods out there. I don't know what all's in the picture that you can see, but I've got 3 catfishing rods of my big catfishing rods out. I've got some Carolina rigs and I've got some a Santee Cooper rig, and I think 2 of them are Santee rigs and one of them is a Carolina rig. Um, and Then I've got a small rod that I use for my bass, crappie, skipjack fishing, and so on and so forth a lot over here. Now, what I've done, let me explain the water situation to you guys. Last night, myself and Miss Tammy came down through here and we walked the beach and all this a little bit and so on and so forth. Had a lot of bank space and all that. Well, there was a log that Miss Tammy had walked on yesterday from one end to the other to get to the drier sand. I know it sounds weird, but yeah, she had to get the wetter stuff was in the middle. So she had to get out further to be able to step down so maybe she wouldn't sink a little bit because she was wearing her nicer tennis shoes. So you don't want to get those dirty. So she walked the entire length of that log. And then there was sand and bank on the other side of that. Well, all that's gone, right? Now, I know the levels are still supposed to stay pretty low, right? But, geez, that log is 5.5 foot long, maybe longer. Uh, and it's completely underwater now. And I would say there's another 2 foot. It looks like, to be honest, 2 feet of water past that. So that's a lot of water rise. Um, Now I knew that I had checked with stuff from the Army Corps of Engineers yesterday, and I knew the water was going to come up just a little bit the next couple days, and then they're going to drop it back down. But all the beautiful bank area that I was wanting to set on today and fish is basically gone. So I was wanting to be down this way about 60 yards that way is where I wanted to originally set up, right where my steps, come down in the pathway that leads me here. But I had to come on down the bank just to have a little bit more stuff and to avoid some of this growth. You see the grass and the weeds and stick and all this brush down through here. So I had to come down here to find a better spot to set a chair up. How much time I'll actually be setting, we'll see, right? But anyway, we're going to find out. So I've got these rods out. Now, that's changed the amount of, ledge space or flats that I've got here on the bank, right? So what I've got is, it's hard to see. I mean, yesterday you could see the drop off, and now I can't. Yesterday it was about 8 feet, somewhere in there out, and you could see the drop off. Now it looks like, oh my gosh, I don't know, close to 15 feet, maybe before it starts dropping. Now what I've done is I've cast my rods out in different distances, right? The one down here, I went a medium range out, not too drastic. The next one along the line, let's see, I went on, boom, and made a big cast with it. This third one here, I hoping I put it in this ledge. What am I going for today? I'm going for catfish out here. So I dropped it off the ledge here. Now this small one that I've got out here, the small rod, I'm hoping either I'm still on the flat, or that I've just dropped it where that, that drop is. That's where I am. Now, the baits, now on that little bitty one, I thought what I would do is I just go ahead and bring it out. And I had some red worm in my refrigerator that I used to catch some bait with the other day, some bluegill and so on. So I thought, let me just go ahead and hook some of that up. Hi, everybody that's chiming in. Appreciate that. Sometimes it's a little hard to see out here, but so, I loaded up with a little bit of red worm on this. I don't have a very huge hook on this one. And like I said, I've cast it probably straight where that drop off is. Now, I could be getting bluegill or, white bass or something like that. Hopefully, it's something that I could use for bait in my state, which would be, more so the bluegill than anything. But we'll see. So I could be hitting a channel cat down in that area too, if it's up here on the flat area where it's coming out of that rise, right? Then I might be able to pick off a channel cat and have a fun fight on that very light rod right there. I think it's got about a 6 or an 8 pound test on it. Now, the leader I put on it is a 40-pound leader. So it's not gonna, saw through that monofilament or anything. That part's good. As long as I can play it well, I should be able to bring something in. Now, and I do have my drag set where it's pretty light. So it'll be able to pull it if it has that. All right, my other baits. Now, I do have skipjack with me, but it is in my bag still. And the reason I haven't got that out, I think that's a skipjack that's been in the fridge for a long time, for one thing. But I think he may have went fishing with me once before, may have thawed a little bit, is what I'm thinking. If this is what I'm thinking is right here. and then put back in the freezer. So the quality of that fish, I don't know. It'll probably still catch fish, but right now he's in the bag. We'll see. What I have on my catfishing rods out here is I have on two of them, I have plain chicken breast. Good old plain chicken breast. Definitely catch fish. On the third one, y'all can place your bets on this one. Uh, how long have I been fishing? Today, I'm just getting started here, just a couple of minutes before 8 o'clock uh, Central Time here. All right, so on the third one is chicken breast, but it's with some teriyaki and a little garlic added to it. So I tell you what, it smelled good even here at breakfast time. I'm not eating it, but it smells it smells really good. But I've thrown that out there. So you place your bets on um, which of the two, types of chicken may be able to catch fish. Now, like I said, I'm gonna go live here for about an hour uh, and give it a try. For those of you that have not seen the channel before, I'm Brad, and this is B&T Catfishing Adventures. Now, I do sometimes fish for other things, even though it is primarily a catfishing channel. But also, if you are subscribed to the channel, you'll also get uh, the We Be Fishing. So I'm reading it at the same time. The We Be Fishing podcast, which is a viewable podcast right here on YouTube. It's part of this channel. It's just kind of a spinoff version that lets you know that version or that particular show is a podcast. Now, on the We Be Fishing podcast, we talk about all types of fishing, not just catfishing. So we may talk about rigs. We may talk about what's going on fishing wise in other states. We may even touch on saltwater fishing and things like that from time to time. So if you subscribe to one, you get both. You're going to bet on the last one. Okay, so on the teriyaki and garlic. Okay, there you go. Thanks for chiming in on that. Uh, and we're going to see now again. So that's who I am. That's what the channel is. Now, where I'm fishing at, I am in Kentucky. One. That is Indiana on the other side that you see over there. That gives you some idea where we are along the Ohio River, because the Ohio River is, 981 miles long. So, boy, that really pinpoints it, doesn't it? It helps you out a bit. However, why this is important to me is I bought a property here. Uh, I bought a property here I signed the paperwork, what was it, February 14th, Valentine's Day this year, right? And moved into my house up there on the hill. And there's stairs that come all the way down to the bank down here, old metal stairs. I had to paint and clean up a bit. They still look a little rough, but it's sturdy. It just looks a little rough. But we had here in Kentucky this year a historic flood, right? And this river came way on up this bank and started up the hill and everything. And every day I would have to go and I would count the number of steps. Now I think I got about 17, 18 steps from the bottom to the top, which is not fun walking, but right. How nice is it to have a river in your backyard? Well, I'm hoping to find out, Troy, and really, really am. Now, I tell you what, the view is just absolutely gorgeous. In the morning, you'll wake up or you see the barges coming through. On the weekend at this time of year, of course, you've got your party boats out there, and your recreational people. They're pulling tubes or jet skis or something like that. I've got an island pretty close to me where it's a party island. A lot of people go down there and party. So, you'll see these boats just coming up and down through here, and that's pretty cool. But like I said, I got this property. We had the big flood, and I would go down there, and literally, I had 9 steps left before it was going to come over the top of the bank and then flood my property and my house. So uh, we got lucky. That's where it stopped at. I think the last time it got that high was in like it was 96 or somewhere around in there. Now I didn't reach like the 1934 flood area. I wasn't around, but uh, the but it got very high. You know, it's in that top 10 uh, all-time levels of recorded levels of flooding, and it was pretty scary. You know, did a lot of damage. Uh, you'd definitely be fishing every day. Well, like I said, we had all that flooding. Now, because of that, then the water level started receding. It took a long time before they released a lot of water through these dams because they didn't want to do any more flooding to the towns and cities, you know, downriver. So what they did is, you know, they slowly let these, once it got back to where the dam could even control the water levels, they let it go through as slow as possible, basically, to uh, to make sure it wasn't going to damage anybody else. Uh, Fishing rods I am using over here. I've got a couple of bait caster reels, and I'm using Catch the Fever rods. These are the big cat rods over here, and I love those. I actually have four of them. I brought two of them out today. One of them has got an Abu Garcia, the 7,000 series, and then one of them is the 6,500 series Abu Garcia catfish specials. Over here, I've got it. Actually, I've got a spinning reel over here today. It was rigged up and like I want it, and I thought, you know what, that's going to work. And to be honest, can't tell you the brand on that. I think it's the spinning reel, maybe a Daiwa on that. I'm not sure about the rod. Um, the little bitty rod I have over here, it's I forget the name of it. It's an Abu Garcia as well, and so is the reel. It was a little combo deal that I bought just to get out and catch bait with. But like I said, after all that rain and stuff, we had nothing but brush and woods, and it looked like a jungle coming through here. And so I had once tried to come down through here when the water or the wetness of the ground and all this wasn't so bad, or extreme heats and all this. And I got it cleared down a little bit, and Miss Tammy had helped me at one time, and all this. And then every time it started to dry out a little bit more, and we're thinking, okay, the more I get to go out and I'm going to do this, we'd have another downpour, and things just got wet, 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 and nasty. Well, the other day it was finally dry enough after these extreme temperatures that we've had here, and where it's been like 110 heat index, and you know, all this. So we had temperatures good enough that I could come down here and weed eat again from my steps down to the bank. Now, earlier we had used chainsaws and things like that, and weed eaters with the big chopping type blades on, and we had made a decent path, and we could get down here, but the water technically was still really high up, and you had, well, in fact, these weeds and all this stuff were still in the water at this point. And right now, like I said, I don't have a lot of beach right now because the water came up today and I lost a lot of it. So, uh, but it is supposed to start going back down in the next couple of days. So I'm excited. But this is so today marks my very first time to finally be able to get out here and cast a line. And I wanted to get out here um, early and go ahead and get some baits in the water and see what we could come up with today. There are a lot of Asian carp that are dead down here, which is a blessing, but it looks a little nasty out here. I see 5, 6 just in my view right here. Where again last night, and they were out the night before too. Uh, we had some guys coming out here with bows, and in the boats going up and down, and they're here, man. They're here at least lately. They've been on the water 2 or 3 nights a week that I can tell that are just down in this area. And so they're cut down on the population a little bit. And I know the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife here and the Indiana Department of Natural Resources, they're out there working, folks. They're doing a pretty good job on, pretty good job on working and trying to reduce the number of these invasive fish in our water because they just grow to humongous size, and then there is no predator for them other than bow fishing and people trying to snag them or something for the most part. But those things can be so dangerous flying out of the water if you're a boater or skier or something like that. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been hit by a 15, 17-pound flying Asian carp, but I can tell you it hurts. Okay. It is not a good feeling. But anyway, they do a good job. But the view down here is, when the dead fish are not floating in your area all day long, but is absolutely beautiful. The sun sets in the evening or the sunrise in the morning over the water is just breathtaking. I'm just tickled, and I realized how blessed I am to be able to be down here. If the world turns upside down tomorrow and I'm no longer able to be here for some crazy reason, uh, whatever amount of time that I've had here, I appreciate that I was given that amount of time to be here in this location. Um, but, uh, like I said, we thought we'd get down here today and fish it for the first time. And I don't know how bad all this extra water they've released through it. Right now, my lines are not being tugged like there's a lot of current pull or anything. I think I would have to get out much deeper than that to feel that big, strong current pull on this. So, that's not been an issue trying to pull on my lines down river. I probably got 3 ounces of weight on some of those. Um, and I don't know, I've got the bigger cannonball eggshell or eggs, sinkers on a couple. And those are probably 4 ounces or something like that. Uh, and But like I said, we thought we're going to get out here today and see. I don't know. The water temperatures have been really, really hot out here, in the 90s, surface water temperature. Uh, but it had started to drop during these last few days when we had a little cooler temperature for the first few days of last week, and it's starting to pick back up a little bit. I think today is supposed to reach 90, 92, something like that today. But lately, like I said, we've been running in the 80s. I think one night we actually had temperatures drop down into the 60s. So that was refreshing to have it cool off a little bit. But no means am I ready for my summer to be over. Don't get me wrong. Now I'm excited personally that even though it's preseason, we got some football back on. Got a game tonight, but excited that's happening. But I'm definitely not ready for winter. I like my summers, my springs, and even my falls could be nice, but I like to be able to get out in that water sometimes. Uh, Adrian, how we doing? And I just want those temperatures. Now I want them to be at a good enough temperature where the fish are active, uh, and all that. But we'll see. We'll see what today holds. Now, bank fishing is different than fishing from a boat. For any of you bank fishermen out there, you guys already know that. But sometimes, if you guys have been fishing pretty much primarily all your life in a boat, you take for granted how easy it is to move from location to location and and um, and be able to find fish. Adrian, where are you fishing? I am fishing I'm in Kentucky. I'm on the Ohio River, and actually, I'm out the back door and down the hill from a property I bought in February. Today marks the first day I've been able to get out here, and I've given all the reasons already, the lengthy reasons why today was the first day to be able to do that. But today is the first day I'm actually able to get out here and fish. And we're trying for catfish. Now I do have one little rod out there that has some or excuse me, some little red worms on it, and I think I'm going to move that one just a little bit, see if we can get it into a spot where we can get some type of activity out of it. But yeah, here on the Ohio River in Kentucky, Indiana is on the other side, so that gives you a little bit better idea, maybe of where I'm at. But yeah, I'm gonna step down. May come out of frame, guys. I'll be right back. You guys keep an eye on my rods for me, okay? I'll be right back. Still got bait. Still got a little deeper. All right, I went on and threw that one out a little deeper, and we'll see what goes. Again, that's a little bait catching rod right there, um, that I use for bluegill, skipjack, and so on and so forth. Uh, so it actually has some red worm on it, and it only has 6 to 8 pound test line on it. It's got 40 pound leader on it though. But I just threw it out a little further and see what's going to happen. But as I was saying, you bank fishermen know how difficult it can be because you're kind of locked, you know, in an area, or potentially how far you can cast. Now, again, a lot of you seasoned bank fishermen know you don't always have to throw it 200 miles out that way. Uh, a lot of times your boat fishermen that are out there in the middle are throwing towards the bank, and you all are like passing each other in baits on some of these people. But a lot of times these fish can be up here on the flats, folks. They're looking to come up here and target and pick off some of these smaller fish, bait fish that are up here. They're not always picking them off out there in the deep water. Now, and basically, primarily, my fish or I'm fishing primarily on the bottom out there. Now, I do have some Santee Cooper rigs out there today, and that is picking them up off the bottom a little bit. But I tell you what, a lot of these fish, again, the temperatures are changing, so it'll affect it. I haven't been in my boat out here in the last few days, but I will tell you, what was it? Last week I went and hadn't done it for a long time, and I went jug fishing. Took a friend out, had him with me. We had a good day, uh, jug fishing, and I can't remember how many jugs we set out. Not that many, but we ended up catching like 7 fish. Now, basically, those fish were in the middle column of the water column, right? They're not down on the bottom, even though you think they might be because of extreme temperatures that they're going to get down there and they're going to bury in that mud like they do. In the winter they get down there and they bury to try and stay warm. In the summer they get down there, they try and the hottest part. Sometimes they get down there and they try and stay cool, but that is not always the case. If you got good current running through, things are moving. You could have had a good storm upstream or up the river that is now being flushed through here, which is changing the water temperatures. Um, you know, and that can affect where these fish are going to be. The water column that's got the most oxygenated water in it, you know, the ones where, let's see, the bait fish are going to be. All those variables can determine where you're going to find these fish at, a lot of times. Uh, so with being just primarily or totally on the bottom today, I don't know. Is that the right spot? I don't know. Again, we're not dragging baits. We're not able to you know, we're not suspending baits today out here. And but yeah, in a boat, you get to drag those baits down the river and you're actively looking for the fish. Here, the fish have to actually find you in this setup. So, I know how difficult it is for you bank fishermen out there. And, you see all these guys in the boat and they're catching fish after fish a lot of times. Um, and, you know, don't ever let that make you feel like a failure because you've struck out on that day or you've got one fish, right? That may have been what was, the one fish may have been your only opportunity. And if you caught it, well, you scored 100% right there. All right. So nothing to be ashamed about that. But yeah, it's a hard row to hoe when you are uh, basically just bank fishing all the time. So I totally get that. But yeah, we're gonna fish this area. I don't know if maybe later I move down a little bit and try down there and give it a shot. Um, because I noticed the other day yesterday when I was out here, the drop off areas, some were a little further out, some were a little closer, and you don't know. And of course, to be honest, I don't know the depths of those drop off. That could be a big factor too. Maybe they're down there in the deeper drop. Um, I don't know. We'll have to see. I tell you what that I am going to do um, is on a day I didn't bring it, uh, and I'm not going to run up to the house today to get it. But I've got these big floats, and this water doesn't have a lot of current, or I'm not caught up in it at least. Uh, on this side of the river, then what I might do is either get some good old slip bobber rigs or whatever and throw out and get these some bait suspended up there and see if that actually can help find that fish column out there. Uh, but anyway, again, I'm appreciate you guys joining me today on the channel, especially for those of you that I've seen some of our regulars, and I see a lot of you guys that are new. or have maybe never seen the channel before, again, primarily we are fishing from a boat. Uh, I did, and for a lot of you regulars, I know it's a heartbreaker that I sold Driftwood, our original boat. Um I sold that one a few weeks ago, and Driftwood was, a nice little John boat that kept us safe out on the water for a few years, uh, and really loved that boat. But I had already bought a Lund also, and so it's a much bigger boat. It's a safer boat. Allows us to be on bigger water. Kept them both for a period of time, and then when I bought this house, I just didn't really have room for both of them. Uh, if you've seen my garage setup, you understand why. But I didn't have the yard space out either uh, for that. I mean, I've got plenty of room, but where I would have to put it just wouldn't look good. So I went on and sold that boat. Still have the Lund, and we primarily, I primarily get out on the water. I'm using that boat now. Um, However, I will be doing a lot more bank fishing now that I'm out here. Uh, and I will probably do stuff. Um, I may have to fling it for a long ways. There's a couple little brush areas fairly close to me where I'm doing some limb line fishing, basically. Uh, I don't have right in here. If I walk down that way a little bit, that might be a good setup. I see about two places right now. Oh, looks like that looks like a gar swimming right there. Okay, that's activity, but not what I'm looking for. We caught one of those also the other day when we were jug fishing. But yeah, I may do some limb line fishing out here. Just go down the bank and you know set some lines, throw them out the best I can. And I understand, a lot of times, I'm not going to be able to get those in super deep water unless I make, put some good weight on there and really chuck it out there. But, uh, you know, basically I'm going to be looking for those fish evening time probably that are going to be coming up on the flats. Look at and target something, find one of those opportunist type fish and hopefully hook up. But yeah, I'm gonna be on the bank more and doing some bank fishing. And I understand, water current, temperature levels, and all this stuff affect it. If my day doesn't go as planned today, I'm not going to say, oh, that's a terrible sight and this sucks or whatever. I'll be back. Every area has its good days and its bad days. So, I am, I understand that. Uh, Charlie, yeah, it does look nice out here today. It's pretty quiet. It's pretty calm. Uh, like I said, I don't have a lot of current. So right now, down here where I'm at, I do have a barge coming. So let's see if that affects anything. But it is beautiful out here today. It's pretty peaceful, other than me chatting. But there, like I said, there's just not a lot of movement in the water that I can see to disperse, uh, the bait and the scents and the oils and all that type of stuff out there. So again, for you guys just joining me, I got, let's see, I've got some bait on this little bitty rod that I've got out here. I've actually got some red worm on there that I've thrown out. Looking for bluegill, maybe small channel cats, something like that, just to have fun with, or maybe find some extra bait. On the other rods, I've got plain chicken breast on a couple of them, and the third one I have chicken, and it has, what is it? Hmm. teriyaki and garlic chicken. There you go. Couldn't pull that up for a minute. I was thinking soy sauce, but it's not soy sauce. Now soy is in teriyaki sauce, but uh, yeah, it is. It is different for sure. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited to be out here, and any day you can just get out and sit and relax, or just be out here on the bank and fish. Needless to say, I'm not setting. May do that in a minute and enjoy some coffee over there. I do have that. So look, I just talked myself into that. All right, I'm, let me grab my chair. I gotta move it back over here where I had to set up. Yeah. But and I might be able to. We're gonna be in frame. Let me pull up in here a little bit. I want to keep my rods in frame because they're more important than I am right now. But we're gonna do this again. I'm in an area where there's more. Let's see if I can get. Um, all right. I think that may be better for y'all too. But yeah, the now you know what happens a lot of times. You go to eat or drink something. You're getting ready, and about that time, especially if you're going to eat, right? If you're going to eat, you, you get all set up, you start to eat, and that's when those rods start twitching a lot of times. I don't know. It's kind of like being in a restaurant and you're waiting on your food. It's taking forever. As soon as you go to the bathroom real quick and get back, your food's laying on your table already. You know, it's like I don't know. There's something that happens like that. I don't know that it makes your food speed up somehow. But yeah, I had a very light breakfast this morning. Just a piece of toast with jelly and a little bit of coffee. Because if I filled my belly, to be honest, I would have wanted probably to go right back to bed. So, so I just did quick and easy, and so I could get back out here. I just saw something jump out there, little one, here on the flats. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, well that barge is going by, so maybe he'll stir something up. And the waves will when they come crashing in. We will see. Has anybody else been having any great success out there on the water lately? I know it's been extremely hot across the country in a lot of places, and it may be affecting the bite or whether you're even able to get out. I went a few days after that jugging trip, and we fished for a little bit, but we couldn't stay out long. We said, and we called it. Instead of after fishing this one area for a little bit, dragging baits, we just said, we had talked about maybe trying another spot or two, and we just ended up calling it. But anybody else, tell us your state, tell us how they're biting. And, here comes those waves. That's what I like. It's gonna make me think I'm at the ocean, you know. Oh, those weren't too. He's got more coming. Oh yeah. Panama City. Here we go. No, I gotta get down here though and get this bank cleaned up more. A lot of debris out here. And get that all straightened up. So, but we'll see. So far, no bites. Let's hope this barge helps. one thing as a bank fisherman, for you people that don't know, I do remember, and I'm smart enough to realize, you don't put your rods and reels at the edge of the water, all right? And the reason for that is that right there. That barge will come through and will come up and will bathe your reels and your rod with mud and sand and dirt and all this type of stuff in your deering and all this stuff. It's not that good for your reels, folks. Not that good for your reels. So if you've got boat traffic, heavy boat traffic that's going to create waves, make sure you set your rods and reels. If you guys are new to fishing or bank fishing for catfish, set your rods back a little bit so when the waves come in, your rods and reels are going to be at a safe distance. Well, so far that barge hasn't helped with the bite. It's hard to see. Gray Wolf, thank you very much for subscribing and the like. I appreciate that so much. It really helps the channel. And like I said, guys, we're going to be out here today. We're going to be out here for probably a few hours today, giving it a shot. We are doing the live for about an hour. So, ish, you know, I'm the ish kind of guy and stuff. So, you know, may start something a little early. I may stay a little late. You know, I'm one of those type of guys, one more cast type guys. You know, you're gonna stay a little longer, which could be 3 hours sometimes. But yeah, we're topping it out like you normal bank fishermen. Grumpy, good morning. Good morning. Glad you joined us. Yep, we're out here on the Ohio, and we're giving it a shot. Nothing yet. Been out here for almost 50 minutes, 48 minutes, I guess. And we're gonna be giving it a shot. Some good old catfish. Yeah, well, I can get use all the luck we can get there. Also, thank you. Yeah, guys, like I said, this is my first time fishing out here in this spot. If you're just tuning in, I bought a house up the hill here, and there's stairs that come down here to the river on the Ohio. First chance to be able to get out here and fish it after the historic floods and me being able to clean a pathway down the hill in the step area to be able to get down here. And we've lost, God, what, 8 to 10 feet, it looks like. Bank that was here yesterday is now gone. It's now gone. So it totally changed from what I envisioned from the night before. And this was probably 7 o'clock last night. I was down here with Miss Tammy, and we were walking around on this little beach area out here, or the bank. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'll set the chair right down here and all that. And now all that's, basically in the water. It is supposed to go back down in the next few days. So maybe if I uh, have to, I can come back out and do that. Austin Outdoors, hello. Give you a shout out there. Kenny Ramirez, what state are you in? I am in Kentucky. And on the other side, to help you figure out a little bit more, that's Indiana right there. Okay. So we understand Ohio River is 981 miles long. That cuts it down for you a little bit. Uh, but yeah, that's where we're at. We're giving it a shot. This is right off my, I'm fishing in my backyard today in the Ohio River. Rise and shine, it's fishing time. That's right, Kenny. Austin, it's nice to talk to you too, man. I'm glad you jumped in here. I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, guys, I'll be doing more than this. Bank fishing for sure, and probably more lives. That's something I haven't done. We've got what? God, probably over 600 something videos, right? Six something videos done over the last few years for the show, and now some of those are short videos and stuff like that we're posting. I got for a while that I got to be pretty good about doing those, uh, and posting usually a couple of videos a week is what I've been trying to do lately, and as well as some shorts. But I over the last year and a half or two, I've just not gone live that much. And one reason lives can be the kiss of death. Austin, let's see. Wait a minute, Charlie. Yeah, that is a nice backyard. Thank you very much. Last night I caught a 17.5 pound blue and a 19 pound blue. Man, Austin, that's nice. Now, where are you located, Austin? Kenny? No, I'm on the Ohio River. Uh, but yeah, Austin, nice fish, man. Good job. Good job. But yeah, guys, today for me, even if I can hook up on one fish, one fish while I'm down here this morning, especially with the water levels and stuff just changing and going crazy and whatever, and the high temperatures and all this stuff. But I will come out with other game plans like out here too. I'll fish the bottom. I'll use Santee rigs with long leaders and get it up off the bottom, and then I'll maybe even get these slip bobbers, the big ones, and throw them out here on days there's not a lot of current, not going to just drag it down, and try and find a fish column, which is harder to do when you're fishing from the bank. But uh, we're going to do it. But yeah, I'm going to try and get out and do more lives for sure, because I have been negligent in the live videos, and I know a lot of you folks like that. Austin, let's see. From Shiner, Texas. All right. I think I'm seeing that right. Uh, Fishing at my grandparents' house, and they live on Lake uh, Conroy. Wow. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Uh, yeah, a lot of people, you know, across the country don't have the blue catfish. And, you know, and it is an invasive fish for a lot of people. And, uh, and it can mess with your ecosystem out there. But for some of us, it's more of a beneficial payoff, right? Difference. Yes, the structure has changed, but but for maybe in a positive way. Unlike, let's say, the Asian carp that are out here, that are really, 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 um, really nice. Uh, the blues are nice. The Asian carp are not so nice. Uh, would like to see them gone. They are doing a good job trying to work on reducing those numbers, and that's just going to be a never-ending battle. But a lot of people don't have the blue catfish in their state. Some do. Some love it. Some hate it. Some are trying to find ways to eradicate them. But from a fisherman's standpoint, if you like to catfish, you know, we all know that uh, flatheads can be tricky, hard to catch sometimes, unless you just know good areas where a lot of good structure are at. You've got the right live bait a lot of times. Now they will eat cut bait as well, but uh, more apt to eat live bait. And they can be a little bit more elusive. I mean, you can catch them in the open water too. Don't get me wrong, but blues are a little easier to catch as far as the hookup ability, your ability to hook up on them. But uh, to catch them, boy, you know that can be a battle. So yeah, Austin, good job on that, catching those fish. Uh, that's a fun fight. You get those teeners, 20 pounders, and man, when you're looking at the 30 to 50 pounders, woo, you talking about a fight. Those fish can fight, and it's not just the fight that they give, but it's just the massive amount of weight these fish can be. Doug, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks. Uh, you know, let's see. Okay. All right. So let me get back to a previous question here. What am I using for bait today? I've got actually some red worm on a little bitty small rod. I can't be negligent and not add that. It's just a little bait type rod that I have out here that I've got some red worm on. I just saw a bunch of little shiners running around jumping in here. So maybe something's in here chasing. Uh, Over here, I've got chicken breast today, right now. I've got plain chicken breast on two of them, and on one of them, uh, and this is going to answer maybe another question here in a minute, and I'll give you my full rundown on all that stuff in a minute. Just for a little something different, I added some teriyaki with a little bit of garlic on this. And we'll go into all this stuff here in just a minute. Uh, all right, Charlie, here's it's all about the garlic. Okay, good. Well, I can go ahead and answer some questions about this or my take on it and my experience on it. Now, what I've done, and Miss Tammy, we don't just go out and fish or try something one time, and if it's successful or not, we say, it's a failure or it's no good or this or that or whatever. We try something many times, and sometimes, now, a lot of times when I'm doing a bait type challenge, I will do it in the same area. All right. Uh, Basically, I don't know. That rod's twitching. Hold on, folks. That rod was pulling. I don't know if that was some good current or something ran into my line. We're going to keep an eye on it. That's that little bitty one with the red worms on it. Uh, Got me set my coffee down though. Woo! Got me excited. Oh, right there at that hour mark. Well, we're gonna continue to run over. Uh, oh, as I get ready to go into that bait stuff we're talking about. All right. Yeah, chicken works really well. And folks, a lot of people don't realize that birds, in a sense, is a natural food source for catfish. And you say, now, how is that? Well, I just told you about the big floods that we've had down in here, and there's trees all along here. And I don't know if anybody's ever seen a bird fall out of a nest or not, or if you've seen a catfish come up, or even a bass that will come up and eat a baby duckling, just snatch it right out of the water. Uh, any type of little bird that's on the water like that, a fish will go after uh, and eat it. But birds fall out of trees during floodings. You have your farmers that have their pens and stuff along the rivers and stuff, or their chickens, and the chickens die, and they're right here. Water comes up, and it gets flushed out there. You've got, uh, you know, birds of prey that pick up other birds, chickens, this, that, so on and so forth. And sometimes they get dropped because they're in a battle with another bird over there fighting over it, and they get dropped into the water. Well, it can become fish food. But chicken works really, really well, and a lot of people believe because it's made partially, similar in color, but also texture, maybe uh, like or similar to that of a mussel. And these catfish love to eat mussels. Uh, no, you don't want it, Charlie. You don't want to make it wait till it stinks. You can use it fresh. You can take your frozen chicken out of the freezer and thaw it out and cut it up. Now, let me go into all the scents and what we found. And like I said, the way we've done it, we would fish the same area, and we do this more than one time, and then we track it by actually keeping a track of how many hooks were empty, how many fish were caught on a bait, so on and so forth. All right. And we would do it on multiple trips because any given day, you know, chicken will outperform, let's say, a live bait that's native to the waters. And that sounds crazy, but you know, we can eat steak all the time, and then every now and then, I'm going to eat some tuna. I'm in Kentucky. Tuna isn't natural in this area. Fish are the same way. They're going to eat what's presented to them. You know what? I'm going to check this rod. Hold on, just say we're going to get back to the baits. I was in something. Woo! I still got my bait. All righty. I think what has happened there is a stick or something floated over there, got caught on that little rod, and it was tugging it, and it came off there. Had me all kinds of ways excited there, folks. All right, back to the bait. Sorry to keep you guys hanging on this. All right, we did do these challenge using jugs, jug fishing. Puts more hooks in the water, spreads it out, but let's say if I'm in a cove, it's all basically in the same area, right? And we do this multiple times, not just on the same body of water, in different areas, because fish can also kind of be almost encouraged or trained to like a certain food, whether it's a small pond and you've got them loving chicken livers or whatever, right? Just like that. Okay, so On the baits, here's what we would do. We would do the strawberry, which seems to be the flavor for these fish. More than anything, that not to say they won't eat the others, right? But if you're going to doctor them up, strawberry seems to be the flavor, not cherry. You'll hear people say cherry. It is red, and they'll get convinced that that's the one because it will catch fish sometimes. It's not going to catch as many fish. Okay, so we want the one that catches the higher percentage of fish. Okay, all right. So that's, keep that in mind. So the strawberry catches a higher percentage of fish than the cherry from the studies and the research that we've done. All right. So, all right. Uh, Kool-Aid versus Jello. You'll hear people say Kool-Aid all the time, like cherry Kool-Aid or strawberry Kool-Aid. Well, guess what? That's not the one. It's basically sugar. I mean, you can do the unsweetened and stuff like that too, but there is nothing in that other than a scent. There's nothing in there nutritional wise for that fish, right? Has no value to that fish other than the chicken, all right? But they can't even maybe smell the chicken because it's coated with that stuff. All right. The Jello, the gelatin has things in it that is actually good for the fish. All right. So between the two, what you want to use strawberry, not cherry. You want to use Jello and not Kool-Aid. Now, I'm asked how you do this. You chunk it up, you wait till it stinks. No, you don't do that. What you do, you don't have to have super big pieces. A lot of times you think big baits, big fish, sometimes, but that's not always the case. So what you want to do, if you're going to do this, and I'll get back to garlic in a minute too. Sorry, it sounds like somebody's cutting up there today. So what you want to do is you get your Ziploc bags, you cut up your chicken, it, thumb size, a little bigger, and you put it in the bag. Then you open up your Jello, right? You just sprinkle it in. Now, leave a little bit of air in your bag that you can shake this up. Now, do you add water or something? Moisture? No. Add no water whatsoever. The moisture in the chicken will be enough to activate the stuff. All right. Now, a lot of people want to get this stuff really, really cold, so on and so forth, and so that it does become a gelatin. I don't like that. All right. I want it to still be in a liquid state, so I don't want it to be super, super cold. So what I like to do is, you throw it in in the refrigerator, and it's the best if you do it the night before. You can do it an hour before you fish if you want to, or whatever, and that will work. But I like to keep it overnight, right? So cut it up the night before, put it in your Ziploc bags, empty the pack of Jello in there, strawberry, not cherry, strawberry Jello, right? And then you put it in the refrigerator. I like to put it in the crisper. I may even want to put something over it to cover it so it doesn't get super, super cool. I don't really want it to become gelatin state. Now, will it still work? Yes. But it gets, chunky, nasty, stuff's dropping in your boat, on your boots, in your on your pants, whatever. Just, again, make sure it doesn't get cool. Now, you're going to put it in your bait thing. What I like, if you take the freeze pack or you're going to have whatever, make sure that stays in the Ziploc bag, maybe another bag too. You may even want to, even though you have if you've got ice there or the little freeze packs in there, maybe put a piece of cardboard down and then set the bait on top of it, okay? So the ice doesn't cause it to start turning into jello, all right, or a gelatin, all right. So then you got your flavored bait, you're ready to go. Now, that is the best way to do the strawberry jello, which in all the tests we've done outperforms Kool-Aid, whether it's strawberry Kool-Aid or cherry Kool-Aid. Jello outperforms over and over and over in testing that we have done, catches more fish, and or we've had more empty hooks, which means probably a fish there, right? Than the Kool-Aid. So leave the Kool-Aid for the kids, you know, or yourself on those hot, warm days, you know, and use the Jello. Now, the question about garlic. Now, today I'm using, like I said, teriyaki with a little bit of garlic, and that was just to throw a different type bait out there. All right. Now, I've used the same concoction of the Jello with garlic, okay? Because everybody talks about adding all these 5,000 different ingredients into stuff, and I'll get into that more in a minute too. But what we found is the garlic puts out a scent, a strong scent, okay? And that will and can attract the fish, right? But a nice little ring out there a fish made. That can attract them over there. But it seems like the bite is not as hard or not as strong, okay? It's almost like a sample hit and taste. And it's like, yeah, I smelled it. You know, I went over, I tasted it. It's not really my thing so much. Now, will people catch fish on it? Yep, they can. They can do that. They can catch it on the garlic. You know, because sometimes when they do that sample bite, yep, the suspicious bite, Charlie, and they're gonna taste it. Sometimes they get hooked up, right? So everybody thinks, oh, that's a big successful bait. No, it just means you got lucky and it hooked up that time. Like I said, we all know they'll eat bubble gum and soap and things like that. You're gonna catch fish on the weirdest things sometimes, but that doesn't mean it's a fantastic bait or statistically it's better than another bait. All right. So there you go. I did a video and it's entitled "Hold the Garlic, Please." So if that tells you anything. So generally, as a rule, I do not use garlic. Now, we're talking about all these, you're welcome, Charlie. We're talking about all these fancy baits and stuff like that. We did the strawberry Jello that became very popular out there in the fishing world for a few years, and even very popular with myself. I used it often, and still from time to time we'll do it. Matter of fact, if I would have had some last night, I would have probably made some up just to put different flavors and different scents out there in the water. Okay, yeah, I know we've run past our hour. I told you I'm ish on the hour thing, you know. All right, so we did another test. Like I said, we were all time trying to find the best baits, right? And giving yourself more opportunity to catch fish by putting various scents out. So what we did is we made the strawberry Jello chicken breast, and then Miss Tammy made a special concoction up. All right, which wasn't, I mean, not a whole lot special to it, but she had her own thing, right? We got out to fishing. We were at Lake Barkley, I believe it was, and we both cast out, and that bait was not in the water 10 minutes, and she caught her first nice blue of the day. and pulled it in. It's like, are you serious? And she caught the same number that day, and we were using rods, I think, that day, as I did with the strawberry jello chicken, if not more. What did she use? She used chicken breast with Pam cooking spray. Just coat your chicken, leave it in the bag overnight, just like the jello. Bam, there you go. It's not as nasty and messy, and it's a very, very effective bait. What you're doing, you're adding a little scent to it, and you're putting some oils in it in the water so it can disperse and the scent and attract that fish. And it works. It's very effective. So if you're wanting to spice a bait up and not spend a whole lot of money and not have finger stained hands and things like that, use the Pam cooking spray. Now, after we talked about all that, let's just talk about chicken in general. Uh, Arizona Outdoors, folks, there you go. Give them a shout. Arizona Outdoors, good morning to you. Glad to have you join us. Yeah, we're down here fishing the Ohio, and we're striking out right now. My first day, I'm heartbroken. My first day of fishing off my own property out here on the Ohio River, and so far nothing. uh, Ringoku, good morning. Uh, good morning. Nice to have you. And we're fishing off the Ohio River here, right off out my back door, basically. First time I've ever fished down here. Got excited a while ago. Had a rod twitching. Had something I thought I hooked up. Apparently a stick or something had attached to one of the lines. I pulled it. You could feel something pop off there. It wasn't fighting me, so we're going to assume it was a stick or something. But boy, it had me going for a minute. I'm just hoping to get that one fish at least today, since it is my first time down here. But the other bait, um, let's see. Let's go get a bite. Yeah, Charlie, I'm hoping, buddy. Uh, I'm excited, man. I'm still excited. I know, my patience is not as great as it used to be as a bank fisherman because I haven't done it in a long time. And I've been getting spoiled being in a boat these last couple of years more so, with only bank fishing a couple times in between that. And yeah, so I'm like, come on, and bank fishermen, I know you got to wait, right? All right, so we found out that regular plain chicken breast, folks. Let me go ahead and put this out here real quick before some of you jump off here and miss this point after we've talked about all these baits. Plain chicken breast will basically, or most of the times, work just as well as any concoction bait you make up with chicken. So you can save yourself a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of stained fingers and all this, and just go ahead and use plain chicken. Now, if you want it to just do the Pam spray or something else just to put a little different scent in the water, again, I don't recommend garlic. It's great, for all these manufacturing companies to say, hey, garlic bait, da 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 da, and it can catch fish. It just doesn't catch them usually in the big numbers because, like I said, they smell it. They're out there. They're sampling it. Sometimes they get hooked up, sometimes not. But anyway, let's see. What's my favorite fish to catch? The one that bites my hook mostly, to be honest. I started out as a bluegill fisherman as a kid, bluegill and crappie and things like that. Then became primarily a bass fisherman for years and years and years. Then as life, and jobs and your children, that you have and marriage and all, you know, a lot of your fishing slows down or can, and it did to me. But I've come back and hit the catfishing strong. So right now, I'm going to say catfishing is my all-around favorite. But I tell you one that I really, really enjoy, and that's catching bait, and that's skipjack fishing. Now I know where all of that is freshwater fishing, and that's because I've never really saltwater fished. Here I've got now a family member that is a charter boat captain down in Florida. I need to go down there and do that. Um, but anyway, that's where I am with that. Uh, Pretty much any fishing is great. Missouri Outdoor Adventures. Good morning from Missouri. Wish I was fishing, but instead I am at work. Oh my, bless your heart. Well, luckily I was able to, after working hard and sometimes three jobs and this and year, and of course there's been some inheritance and this and that. I was able to retire early. I actually retired uh, a few months before my 62nd birthday, uh, and a couple days from now, on the 9th, it's going to be my birthday, guys, of August. That's right. And I don't normally put this out there unless we've had 3 dates or whatever. But yeah, I'll be 64, and Miss Tammy doesn't let me date. So there we go. Uh, let's see, Arizona. I was in Colorado River and landed my first PB for stripers. About 5 pounds. You got, yeah. All right, yeah. Stripers. Miss Tammy, uh, she got one that was four. I don't know what was with the fours that day. She ended up hooking a 14-pound Asian carp, and you're not hooking them in the mouth. You're hooking them in the side or the fins and stuff, and so it's not like you can turn them. You're just totally fighting them. She got that. I think that was 14 pounds, and then she caught a 4 pound, excuse me, a 4.5 pound striper on that same day as well, uh, just down here. And that was, I guess, last month. We were at one of the dams and the hydro plants. Uh, Thank you so much for the early birthday wish ahead of schedule there. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But yeah, that's where we're at, guys. That's you know, as far as the baits, the rigs, the what I got going on. Again, for some of y'all missing it, I do have some Carolina rigs out there, and I've got Santee Cooper rigs out there. I feel like I need a slip bobber rig out there. I feel like some of these fish are more up in the middle of the water column out there, right? And I know, the more you fish an area, the more you learn about it and the time of year and the weather conditions and all that, uh, and all those things play into and affect your ability to get these fish. So, but I'm excited just being outdoors out here and right off the back porch, and down the stairs here to be able to come out and fish this river. I don't have to haul stuff in a vehicle or anything. Um, Arizona Outdoors, thank you so much for subscribing. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hope you can get out and get some fishing in here soon yourself. But guys, all right. Well, hmm, should I go ahead and call it on the live? I was going to do about an hour today live, and then I was going to just go ahead and switch over and just continue fishing and just record it as a regular episode. Now, I know the live, you get the gritty, hardcore, the good, the bad, the ugly, the if you get the fish, if you don't get the fish, if you hook up on a stick or whatever, you get that. You get the true stuff. It's not a doctored up thing where every 3 minutes you're catching a fish like you can do on a cut and edit video. So, uh, should I go ahead and continue with the live for a little longer, or should I go ahead and just cut it? I mean, I appreciate all you guys that have subscribed, that have been here, uh, and I appreciate you watching. I hate for you sitting through here, and if we're not going to be catching any fish today, I hate that. Uh, but for some of you, and of course we are getting to chat, so I appreciate that. Uh, Live, you think it's best, and Arizona Outdoors. Okay, and we appreciate your live, man. Charlie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it gives you a chance to tell you what kind of to rigs I'm running, the baits I'm using, the experiences I've had that hopefully can help you guys out as far as some of those baits and things like that. Now, again, I may or may not get into that skipjack here in a minute and put that on a line. But like I said, I think that one has been gotten into before. Maybe thawed a little bit on a fishing trip and then put back in the freezer and frozen. He might even be, a year and a half old in the freezer. So I'm not sure that I really want to use him or not. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, so far, nothing. I figure, I would at least get a few little hits out here. Yeah. So it looks like we might just continue with the live for a little bit more here, guys. All right. So um, I'm gonna freshen up my coffee here, and yeah, this location is going to allow me to do stuff. Um, even if I just, tie a rod down and go back up the hill, and watch TV for a bit or whatever. Um, and or it'll allow me to do maybe some limb lines like I've talked about earlier, tie off to a few things, throw these baits out as far as I can. Uh, at certain times when this water's down, it will let me get it on that ledge. Uh, but for a lot of it, it'll be, fish coming up here and hitting stuff they find up here on the flats. Have I ever considered using anchovies as bait? I'm not opposed to eating them on pizza from time to time. I know some of y'all just got grossed out, but um, I have not used them. Now, believe it or not, and this is the most expensive bait I've ever tried, was I was at a Japanese restaurant, and Miss Tammy and I had some nice sushi and sashimi. Now, sashimi is just the raw fish, okay? So we had our meal, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna buy some more sashimi, and used it and caught a fish on it. There you go. Now shrimp will catch fish. What you want to do is you can leave the shell on it, or you can take that off. Which one uses the raw shrimp, not the pre-cooked shrimp, works best. But I bought some tuna, some salmon, some eel, and mackerel. Now, for those of you guys that have never eaten sushi and turn your nose up to it and think, Jesus loves me, yes, he does. And, you know, has never had sushi. And like I said, you turn your nose up. Mackerel, especially jack mackerel, tastes exactly like you think sushi will. You know, it is all right. Mackerel has a very, very strong smell and a strong taste, strong fishy taste. Jack mackerel has all those things, plus it's like it's laid on the bank for 3 days in the sun. All right, that's what jack mackerel tastes like. Okay, uh, so I actually bought the mackerel to go out there too. Now, to be honest, salmon or tuna. Now, most of you people, you open up a can of tuna and you smell that and you think that's what tuna would be like. No, that's cooked, processed tuna that releases all the oils and things, and that's what you're smelling. Pure cut fish, tuna or salmon, and salmon is actually milder. Okay, and a small piece of just raw salmon is very mild, very smooth, very flavorful. Get it at an actual Japanese restaurant, not a fast food Japanese restaurant, not a Chinese buffet, none of that. And just get a little piece of that salmon and taste it. It will taste nothing like what you think. Nothing. And it's absolutely delicious, and it can be like butter melting on your tongue. That's how that is. But, you know, uh, I took that expensive bait out. We came out on the Ohio River, and to be honest, I think it was still during the middle of spawn, and still during the middle of spawn, and caught nothing. I could have just eaten that bait. I spent all that money on that bait. I could have just eaten it, but uh, c'est la vie. Anyway, yes, sushi is absolutely. That's just. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. Uh, Color black, not a problem. Not a problem. I hope you have a wonderful day. Um, but yeah. Anyway, but you know what? I think I'm going to do that again. Maybe, prior to spawn, you know, when the fish are feeding up and they're eating well, I think I'm going to try the sushi again as catfish bait, because people for years keep telling me that sushi I eat is that's fish bait right there. It's catfish bait or something. It's like, no, that's bait for me. That's me bait. That's what I'm gonna be. That's what I'm hooked on, uh, and I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But what are for you guys out there? What are your all-time go-to, the thing you've had most success for? And let's say it's river fishing or in a, in big lakes, not little ponds and things like this, but big rivers and and lakes. Um, what is your favorite all time go to bait? All right, let's hear that, and maybe your bait is something off the wall that somebody else has not tried, whether it's spam or whatever. Uh, so Arizona, Arizona outdoor. So anchovies for sure is your go-to bait. That's what you think is your favorite all-time go-to bait. Okay. All right. Uh, and anchovies. There's is a fly lure, Charlie. Okay, 99% of the time. Okay. Well, anchovies. They're a fish and type animal, uh, water creature, and there is a salty flavor to them. And sometimes salt baits uh, and or flavored fish actually work well. Folks, as we're sitting here talking this morning, I'm sitting here watching this bank, and a barge is coming, but it's on down the way a bit, so it shouldn't be affecting here. And it looks like, remember me telling you the water temperature was going to start dropping back down again? It looks like I'm gaining about 8 inches of bank from where I started at this morning already. That's crazy. Uh, the oily and big cats love it. Yeah, mackerel is better because it's bloody. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I would think mackerel. Um, there's some dove. I would think mackerel would be a good catfish bait. Uh, but like I said, I've just tried it one time, and like I said, one time doesn't really tell the story on a bait uh, or a location, a body of water. Like I said, a front can come through and totally change the activity that you would normally have in any given body of water. And so there you go. Uh, you got to try something more than once. You know what, folks? I think I'm gonna move this camera back just a little bit. Bear with me because I am starting to feel the sun. And while that can be a good thing, sometimes it can be a little much. So I'm gonna step back here. Magic thread to hold the bait on the hook. There you go. Um, Try some fresh mackerel. Well, the mackerel I get now, you have your Japanese restaurants, right? Now, of course, where I'm at, I'm not going to get fresh mackerel. What I'm going to get is flash frozen, right? If they do it right. Uh, Now, and you go to the proper Japanese restaurant, they'll have the fish, the whole fish, and they're going to process the fish. Now, what I've found in a lot of these quick place restaurants is you have sushi chefs that have been sushi chefs for 3 to 6 months, right? A true sushi chef was an apprentice for 2 years before he ever really starts even cutting fish. 2 years apprenticeship. Uh, he's not even considered a sushi chef at that point until then. Uh, so, but these guys are actually cutting the fish. Try Asian market. Yeah, they're sold whole in the Asian markets. I don't know if the town over my hometown. Uh, yeah, they probably have some mackerel that are flash frozen, and flash frozen, y'all, is basically they're doing that. Usually, they're taking the live fish, and a lot of times they can flash freeze it right there on the boat. They're throwing it into these things, and these temperatures are so cold. These fish freeze extremely quickly. It's not just like they're throwing them on ice and then taking them to a freezer later. Uh, so uh, Anyway, so that's what's, you know, uh, what is it we have in nature, but the culture. Yeah, yeah, right, Charlie. Yeah, yeah. Um, the whole mindset on this. I know a girl that's she's been in the restaurant business for a long time, but now she considers herself a sushi chef because she is at one of these um McDonald's style sushi restaurants, we'll call it, and and it's a chain. It's a restaurant chain, and probably successful because of the decor and the name and this type stuff and all that. But you're she's not a sushi chef, right? I don't care. You can call yourself a sushi chef. You can identify as a sushi chef, but you're not a sushi chef. And I've watched one of these people actually go from one of these type of restaurants one time, and they went to an actual Japanese restaurant, and they hired this person to be an apprentice. And the person knew the difference and said, yes, now I've got to learn how to do real sushi, right? Real sushi, and he used the term McDonald's sushi. He used that term. That's where I picked it up from. And so, you know, not fast food, not gas station type sushi. So uh, it's totally different. If you guys have eaten sushi or quote what is called sushi from some type of Chinese restaurant or something buffet, uh, that's not giving it a fair chance. So, uh, but yeah, people have fallen off the wayside in this country drastically of doing like apprenticeships for any period of time. They want to be able to be there, the it, the now, the boss, the king, the whatever, um, without putting the time in. And it's sad. It does take a lot of skill to know how to work as sushi chef. Is a skill to doing it properly. Ah, konnichiwa hejimi mashite, Arizona Adorsan. Yeah, there we go. Uh, uh, but yes, domo, arigato. You are absolutely correct that it does take skill. And man, how nice it is to be able to live in Japan for a while. Now, I've not lived in Japan. I taught martial arts for 38 years, was in the martial arts for over 40 years. Um, I, yes, and it's you know all all the Asian cultures. I would have my student. Here I was, an eclectic practitioner, but I would teach respect for you know, a lot of the arts and or the heritage of the arts and the history of the arts. So my students would learn, to speak, let's say, basic numbers in Japanese, Korean, and Chinese. And they would learn how to write, let's say, numbers in kanji 1 through 10. Well, Chinese know the same numbers because it was actually Chinese, all right? Uh, and Japan and Korea actually stole that writing structure because they had no written structure of their own originally. And later you had the kana, hiragana, katakana, Hangul and Korean and all this. Their writing structures. And come on, we need that barge bike, folks. But yeah, so many people. Like I said, yes, you know, uh, that is correct. Um, just don't have that drive to want to spend time to do that. And you think they would. I mean, we have people that will spend a couple of years to be a nurse and do things like that. But when you talk to them about you're going to be an apprentice for 2 years, making rice, uh, preparing stuff, getting stuff laid out, basically, an apprentice for sushi is almost like you're setting the surgeon up to do his job and prepare. You're laying things out, you're preparing, you're watching, you're doing the little side work over there, and that's good. I hope that big bait caster of mine's about to get slapped. I wish one of them would. I mean, I got so excited with the tugs on this little one earlier, uh, you know, but man, you know, I don't know. Maybe these waves come in, they're going to push some fish, they're going to stir some things up. I didn't get the bite prior to the boat getting here. I haven't got it now that it's left, but maybe when these waves roll in here in a minute, maybe maybe we'll be able to get something. Um, but yeah, we're talking about sushi. The little yeah, a little water movement could things. Learning a craft takes time, dedication. Yep. Yeah, and the crazy thing is, sushi chefs take great pride in being a sushi chef, and their whole thing is, it's not about you're just a chef and you're preparing food. You are creating art, and the presentations of somebody that's not burnt out, but somebody that still loves and has a passion for what they're doing. The presentations that they can come up with to put that food out is just incredible. Uh, the night bite, well, no, I'm fishing early this morning, but I do need to do a nighttime fishing, and I need to do it along this bank down here. But I also need to do a nighttime fishing from the boat. I need to get that. Uh, let's see, Charlie. 7 years ago. Oh, well, good job, Charlie. Nice, 7 years ago. Uh, and yeah, a nighttime fishing is definitely a must that I've got to get in this year. Got to do one from the bank, at least one down here on the bank, um, and but I want to do one from the boat too. You know, just launch that boat just as it's about to get dark, and maybe come in just as the sun's coming up. Uh, yeah, working hard reaps its benefit. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well, I've got no much still. We've got a few waves still coming in. We've got a guy in a John boat being very respectful. I love it. He's going slow, coming down through here. He sees the guy fishing on the bank, and you know what? I highly appreciate that. He is slowing down. As somebody that now, don't get me wrong. I'll be flying down the river sometimes, and I'll miss seeing somebody bank fish until right at the last moment, right? And I'm like, oops, sorry, uh, because I know what it's like. Whether you're anchored up and you're fishing, or you're on the bank and somebody just being disrespectful and flying past you, that just irks me. And I maybe more than once, sent some hand language, sign language to them to let them know of my disapproval. How you doing out there, buddy? But scroll back down here. Yeah, do a lot of night fishing here. The weather gets extremely hot. Temperatures are 115 degrees in Arizona. Yeah, I bet you're doing a lot of night fishing. Uh, that's just, that's insane. Now, I've got to say, I have been to Arizona. My oldest son lived there for a short period of time, uh, in 2020, and, a little bit, well, 2019, 2020, prior to COVID, and then during some of the COVID time. And I flew into Arizona. Now, it was at night. I left Kentucky, and it was comfortable. You could have wore short sleeves. When I got on the plane, I got to Detroit, Michigan. Yeah, they flew me all the way up there where it was snowing. I was freezing. Then they fly me to Arizona, and it's hot as can be. It's a nighttime, hot as can be. No humidity though. So if it's like that for you guys, the no humidity. The humidity is what really, really affects us here. Shark and rays at night, halibut and stripers during the day. Oh man, that sounds nice. Uh, Hottest day was 128 degrees. Yep, you can keep that. No, no. Yeah, I don't want any part of that type of temperature for sure. For sure. Well, I'm sitting here and I'm enjoying chatting with everybody this morning as you have come with me and sharing my experience out here on the bank. Now, I could have been out there. Of course, that would take me away from speaking to you guys more. I could have been down there. It could be more active. I could be, let's, let's be real. If I was wholeheartedly out there wanting to work harder, I could be out there freshening my baits up, casting them at different spots a little bit, and giving myself a little bit better chance of catching fish. Of course, that cuts down on my opportunity to talk to you folks. And I've got to say I've been thoroughly enjoying that. Um, when you do 65 degrees, ooh, Colorado River, nice. Um, can you catch a uh, I can use the bluegill as bait. We cannot use crappie as bait here. And you know, uh, doing normally I do regular videos. The regular shows, and so you guys get to see the action, fish being caught, and things like that. And but we're editing the videos. Now I'm the type of guy that if I lose a fish, I'm going to show you that a lot of times. If a fish pops off, or if a line snaps, I'll let y'all see it, right? Because that's real life. Those things really happen. There's a lot of channels out there that won't do that stuff. They are just going to show you the good stuff. They're going to make it look like they catch a fish every 5 minutes. Uh, although, they put out a 15-minute video or 20-minute video, and they've been fishing for 8 hours, uh, or 10 hours to get those fish. And so, uh, like I said, I like to try and show what really happens out there. Um, you know, uh, in my videos. Uh, and But the thing with doing those videos, what I was getting at, the thing about doing those videos, it doesn't give us a chance to interact with you guys, right? And and you guys have known and heard me say before, the shows, you guys are the show. Without you guys, there is no show. Uh, BNT Catfishing Adventures wouldn't have been around this long if it wasn't for some of our loyal fans that have been out there. Some of you, since the beginning when we started this thing. And, you know, we're growing and continue to grow our own little channel there, you know, and, over 2,000 subscribers and all that. So, uh, but we know it's all about you guys, and we appreciate that. And this gives us the opportunity to speak to you guys. Now, some of you guys have been, to, let's say, the Catfish Conference in Louisville, Kentucky, and I've met a few people there that have come up to me and said, "Hey, we watch your show, man. I've seen you and Miss Tammy, um, several times, several of your episodes, or whatever." Some of the guys, I was at a bank, pulled a boat in, or excuse me, I was putting a boat out as the guy was coming in, and he asked me my name, and I said Brad, and he said BNT Catfishing Adventures, and and this guy lives 2.5 hours away from where I live, and he says, "I watch your videos," and so to be able to meet some of you guys in person and shake your hand, it's absolutely great. But being able to sit here and chat with you also, that's the next best thing right there, right? Is the next best thing. So yeah, I like I said, I could be down there and refreshing baits and stuff. Probably should. I wanted to put 100% today into that, and you would think that I would, being my first day down here on my bank, but uh, no, I'm getting caught up in chatting with you guys uh, and all that. Big in Maryland. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Charlie. I appreciate that. I actually have an uncle that lives in Maryland. Uh, believe it or not, he is a former retired military and lives up in Maryland. Did some school teaching up there at one time, I think, and as well for a while. Uh, that man, he's got a memory. He can tell you year and dates of stuff that happened back, you know, probably in the 40s and 50s, you know, and he can tell it with just precision, point accuracy and stuff. It's wild. Uh, and he is a all around good guy. He and my aunt are up there, and I think uh, his two children, my cousins, live in that. But yeah, he traveled around. He was in, I think it was United Way or something like that, years and years ago, and he spent time in Africa and working uh, for a few years, and then he went into the military and retired after 20 something years of service in the military up there, and now lives, like I said, for the last several years in Maryland. Well, I greatly appreciate that. Uh, world respect. Well, thank you, Charlie. Um, we try to be entertaining, we try to be educational, and we try and just have fun. Uh, and that's what our channel is all about. Um, I've fished for years and years and years, and when I noticed, I found myself doing it around COVID. Uh, it was a great form of entertainment, and I thought, that's a great way to help people. And I've had people that were, homebound due to COVID, but I've also had those, servicemen and stuff that have come home and they're injured, or this, or people that are disabled from one thing or another, that a lot of these people don't get out, and so on and so forth. And they've watched our shows. We have one of our regulars, and He showed it online, uh, that was going through cancer treatments, and and he talked to myself, and he would say uh, how I could lay in the hospital bed and watch your episodes, and for that period of time, it got my mind off of my cancer treatment. That means a lot. Uh, when you know that you're actually helping somebody in a way, even if it's as a distraction, man, that means a lot. Um, and I tell you what, teaching martial arts all these years to help people learning how to defend themselves, and women for rape prevention and education type classes and things like that, right? That has always been to me, helping people like that and doing things like that. Well, that right there with the man sitting in that, or laying in that hospital bed, that meant just as much as me knowing, I'm helping these people out, um, in a different way, right? And that means a lot. So that was very special to me that he shared that about our show, and I totally appreciate that. Um, and he's been one of our uh, channel members for almost the very beginning, and he's actually subscribed as a channel member too. Uh, and you guys can do that as well if you want to help the channel out. You can be a channel member. Maybe $2 a month, $1.99 a month, or something like that. If you want to do that, you can do that. Um, Also on the lives, I know the other day we had people sending the little jewels and the things up like that wanted to help the channel. Uh, and, you can do that as well. And some people like our, our apparel. We do have the little store if you want to go buy the B&D catfish stuff with the logo apparel on it and stuff like that. We have that out here. Boy, here comes the Asian carp. Now, I told you guys that some guys down here were bow hunting, and they've been up and down through here a lot lately over the last several days or at night. And here comes some into view, I think, for you guys right here. And I see a total like four now down through the stretch, floating down through here. There's some laying up here on the bank. Smells a little like mackerel, but I'm not going to taste it. Uh, no, we never know who's going to be watching the content or how you can help them out. You think you're helping them out on, how to tie a rig up, how to tie a certain knot, or the best types of hooks, or, you know, talking about the types of rods and reels and stuff, or just giving entertainment, but you don't know just how much that entertainment value might mean to somebody, or if they're going through those difficult times. Uh, and, there, I mean, it's just like, give a shout out to our military people a lot of times, especially during those special holidays throughout the year and stuff. When we do that, we do that. We'll thank them through the year, but we like to thank them, on those special days, and recognize them. And I remember I was working at a drug treatment facility, drug and alcohol treatment facility, and you never know how important saying thank you to somebody is, right? And and there was a gentleman in there, and he was somebody had been in Vietnam, right? And I'm thinking this is 19. probably 94, something like this, right? And he has been back since the 1970s, right? Well, I walked up to him and I stuck my hand out and I said, thank you for your service. Folks, this man put his head down, glanced up, put his head back down, and by the time he raised his head again, he was starting to have a tear form in his eyes. And he slowly reached out and he took my hand and he said, do you know you are the first person who has ever thanked me for my service? He had been back since the 70s and nobody had thanked him for all that he had gone through. It wasn't a popular war, and we treated many of our own people very wrong during that time period. Uh, this guy now was stocky. He had been abusing substances for a period of time, and it was wearing on his body. But at one time, he was a small guy, and he was a tunnel rat, and so climbing through these tunnels and doing what he had to do, uh, and clearing those pathways, you can just imagine. But uh, the things he has seen, the things he had went through, and nobody had thanked him. Uh, but um, it just it broke my heart to hear that that he had, and possibly that's why, you know, he had many of the substance issues that he had, because nobody showed the appreciation after everything he had to do. Um, you know, so I don't know, but yeah, I agree. You never know who's watching or what you say, how it can affect somebody, and sometimes uh, it can mean a lot to them. So, and other times, sometimes we do say the wrong thing, and hopefully they can find enough grace and stuff to forgive us for our downsides there. So anyway, well, folks, it's been over 2 hours. I haven't had a bite. I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I have had a blast chatting with you guys. Not so much on the fishing side, other than that one rod twitch where I was getting that excitement over there. But other than that, uh, the barge bite didn't even help me today. So there you go. It happens. We all go through it, right? We all have our good days and our bad days. And I've got to think that them opening the dam and then lowering it, this water coming up and down, that's got to be part of it. The these high temperatures and stuff. Maybe I'm not out there far enough. Maybe I'm not out there deep enough. I need to get my boat out here and check with the sonar and kind of go through here and find the deep spots and where they line up with the bank, so I know where to come next time and set up so I can have a successful. Um, hey, thank you, Charlie, for staying with us during this, and everybody else that has chimed in or given us thumbs up on this episode and spent time with us today. Sometimes that's what it's all about when you go fishing, is especially if you bring a buddy along, and it's about sharing that time and just chatting with each other. And today I got to bring a bunch of buddies with me and chat down here on the riverbank of the Ohio River. Guys, thanks again for watching. I greatly appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so. Um, Arizona, thank you for your service, sir. I appreciate that. And but again, it was so nice to have all of you all sitting here with me, and spending some time down here on the river. You guys take care. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. BMT Catfishing Adventures. And don't forget, you get the Weeby Fishing Podcast as well, where we talk about all kinds of fishing. We got a boat about to speed down through here. And that's all right. I'm going to wrap it up. Maybe he'll get me, cause me to have a bite. We'll see. Anyway, you guys take care. Have a great day, and enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see you.